Hello Year 5. Okay, make sure you've got a pen and paper at the ready. So if you've not, quickly pause it already now and go and get one, because there's going to be lots of times where it will be helpful for you to jot things down, and that will help you with your work later. Okay, so first of all, what are these pictures of? Nice easy one to get you going. What are they? Yeah, that's right, they are newspapers. And the reason I'm showing you these is because the next few lessons in literacy we're going to be learning about a newspaper. We would have been doing this in school anyway, so our aim is to try and write a newspaper article, okay, and it's going to link with our work in topic, so it's going to be about space. What do newspaper articles give? Like, what information is it that they give? So pause the video, tell someone in the room, or jot it down on a piece of paper. What information do newspapers give? Newspapers discuss current or recent news of either general interest or a specific topic. Okay, so it's just like the news that you will see on TV, but in paper form. News itself actually stands for noticeable events, weather and sport. So that's the type of topics that they will cover. Okay, just like we would in class, I'm going to read you a newspaper article now, and whilst I'm doing so, I want you to be thinking about and maybe jotting down on your piece of paper, what's the purpose of it? So remember, we've got our 4 purposes for writing. Which one is it? Is it to entertain? Is it to discuss? Is it to inform? Or is it to persuade? Who is our audience? So who will be wanting to read it? And what are our top 5 features? So what writing skills are needed in a newspaper that make a newspaper a newspaper? So be thinking about those things as I read it to you now. Just one more thing before I start reading. Features with newspapers, I'm not meaning like the headings, pictures, captions, I'm meaning of the actual text, okay? Because whoever adds the pictures and the captions, that's a different person to the author. That will come in the editing stage, but we're just looking at the actual text. So yes, all of them will include a heading and subtitles, subheadings, sorry. They're not the features that we're looking for. I'm looking for actual writing skills. Probe peels back mysteries of the universe. Is remote exploration a form of escapism? NASA have sent a spacecraft 12 billion miles from Earth. One scientist says it's like exploring an elephant with a microscope. Why do we bother? A matter of hours ago, almost exactly a year since it crossed into interstellar space, the probe has sent back a message. Beyond Jupiter, beyond Neptune, beyond the furthest reaches of the sun itself, a NASA spacecraft is wandering in interstellar darkness. I'm drawing on the page. After completing a 41-year journey, Voyager 2 left our solar system in November 2018. Scientists are astounded that the craft has made it so far. We didn't know how large the bubble was, and we certainly didn't know that the spacecraft could live long enough to reach the edge of the bubble and enter interstellar space, said Professor Ed Stone. Our sun roars through space at 450,000 miles per hour, spiraling around the centre of the Milky Way. As it travels, the star's fiery volatile surface throws off bursts of solar wind, which form a bubble called the heliosphere. Eventually, these winds crash headlong into the interstellar cloud, the layer of debris and powerful radiation that hangs between our galaxy's star systems. We know about this strange barrier thanks to Voyager 2 and its older sibling, which left our solar system from a different angle in 2012. At the edge of the heliosphere, Voyager 1 detected a boundary where temperatures dropped and the density of charged particles, known as plasma, rose sharply. It's just really exciting that humankind is interstellar, said physicist Jamie Rankin of Princeton University. We have been interstellar travellers since Voyager 1 crossed, but now Voyager 2 crossing is even more exciting because we can now compare 2 very different locations. Scientists have been hoping that these 2 pinpoints could tell us more about the shape of the heliosphere. Some models predict that it is spherical, whilst others think it is more like a comet, leaving a long tail of solar matter in its wake. The new data from Voyager 2 suggests that the bubble is indeed spherical, that means round, but not everyone is convinced that we've learnt much at all. It's kind of like looking at an elephant with a microscope, says research scientist Bill Kurth. You have no idea what's going on between the 2 points. Why do we bother to explore the vast expanse of our ignorance? Are there not enough problems at home on Earth? And would the money not be better spent on the issues that have some kind of immediate relevance to us here and now? Into the void. It is a total waste of time, some say. Interstellar space is like that blank look a friend gives you when they're not listening to something important you are trying to tell them. It is hugely tempting to devote your mind to something far, far away, which has absolutely no relevance. It is quite simply a respectable form of escapism. What better way to explain why you are not doing anything about the fire in your kitchen than to say you are busy exploring the origins of the universe? So unfair, or so say the fans of space science. 42 years after they were launched, the spacecraft are still going strong and exploring the outer reaches of our cosmic neighbourhood. By analysing data sent back by the probes, scientists have worked out the shape of the vast magnetic bubble that surrounds the Sun. The spacecraft are now more than 10 billion miles from Earth. What could be more valuable or exciting than that? Okay, so that was a real example of a newspaper article about space. Okay, now who do we think the audience was? Who do we think it was aimed at? Pause the video, tell someone in the room, or write it on a piece of paper. The audience was just simply someone interested in that topic, which was space. For example, if you've got a gardener, someone who loves gardening, they're not going to be necessarily all that interested in space. But if you've got a rocket scientist, they're going to be far more interested. So, newspaper articles, their audience is just someone interested in that topic. When we come to write ours, we're going to aim ours at high school children who are interested in the topic. So we're not looking for trying to engage 72-year-olds that are going to be really brainy on the subject of space. We're just going to aim at high school children who are interested in the topic. So yes, it's still going to be quite formal and sound professional, but we've not got to aim it at really clever scientists. So that's who we're aiming for. What might the purpose of it be? Was it to entertain? Was it to discuss, inform and persuade? And think, why do you think it was that purpose? So pause the video, tell someone in the room or write it down. What's the purpose and why do you think that? The purpose of a newspaper article is to inform, as they tell the reader all about the current events and they give the facts. They're not persuading them that space is a good thing to explore. They're not just doing it to give them a good time and to make them enjoy it. They're informing them. They're telling them the facts and actually what happened. Right, this is something we do with every single new piece of writing that we look at. We try and identify the top 5 features and then we learn how to use them in our writing. So if you haven't already, jot down the top 5 features that you think will be in a newspaper and we'll see if you've got them right. Remember, I'm not expecting you to get all 5 right at this point in time because we've not taught you it yet. So don't worry about that, just jot down which ones you think. Off you go. Press play again when you're ready. Okay, the first one of the top 5 features is introductory and summary paragraph. Well, you might want to call it introduction and conclusion, okay? What's the point of an introduction? An introduction lets the reader know what the whole article is going to be about. And this is an easy one. Where am I going to find my introduction? My introduction is going to be the first paragraph, which is this bit in red. Okay, so just reading that bit, I know it's about a spacecraft 12 billion miles away from the Earth, which has found something. Okay. Now, a conclusion or a summary paragraph. What is the point of that? And where am I going to find it? So easy questions there. Pause the video, tell someone or write them down. The job of a conclusion is to sum up all the main ideas and the main details of the article. And it's generally the last paragraph, okay? And it is going to be in hours too. So it just sums it up so it gets all the main details out. Right, well, another top 5 feature are quotes. So if you've got that one on your list, give it a tick. If not, don't worry. But what are quotes? I think we use them a lot in reading, but what actually are they? Tell someone or jot it down. My quotes in these paragraphs are just the what bits in inverted commas because people have actually said these bits. Oh, there's all the bit there. Okay, they are my quotes. Now, this is important to talk about. James Rankin and Bill Kurth, they're not just your average person walking down the street, okay? They're important people to this topic. So if I am writing a newspaper article about a recent Leicester City match, I'm not just going to ask any random person in Manchester their thoughts on it. Okay, I'm going to be asking someone important to that topic. So either a Leicester supporter, one of the players, or like a coach or someone who works there, not just your average Jim walking down any old street. So if that's the case, why do we think quotes are important to include in a newspaper article? Why are they one of our top 5 features? Pause the video, tell someone in the room, or write it down. Quotes in newspapers allow the reader to give other people's point of view, okay? Because it's quite often on the news, you have different experts or professionals come in and give their point of view. It's just the same in a newspaper. You don't just want to hear one side of the story, you want to hear what people think about it. So that's why we use quotes. 3 more features to go. And remember, I did say jot things down as we go because that will help you with the actual work. Another top 5 feature are a range of logical conjunctions and adverbials. Now, that seems quite a wordy one, but we actually know what these are quite a lot. If I show you these for logical conjunctions, I'm sure it will all come flooding back. I have 2 different types of conjunctions: coordinating, which are my for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so with my fanboys, or subordinating conjunctions. We remember a white bus to help us with this. Now these aren't my only subordinating conjunctions, but there are a good chunk of them. Can you remember what conjunctions actually do? If you were to explain it to someone, how would you explain it? So either tell someone in the room or jot it down on your paper. A conjunction links words or group of words within a sentence. So here, I have got a sentence. It's not to do with space, but it will do. Later, a cat crept up as the bird pecked the apple and it ate noisily. The cat watched the bird quietly because he didn't want to scare it away. And, so my red one, is my coordinating conjunction. Now, a coordinating junction joins group of words which are of the same importance in the sentence. Okay, so they are both needed. Whereas my as and because are subordinating ones, and they join words of or groups of words which are not as important as the rest of the sentence. So that's why people often say they're not needed in the sentence, they will still make sense without it, because this second bit, the cat watched the bird quietly, I could have that on its own, okay? And then because he didn't want to scare it away, it's not desperately needed, but it does just give us that extra bit of information. So pause the video and think, why are conjunctions important in a newspaper article? Or think, if they're not there, How will my newspaper be different and probably not as good? Okay, newspaper, I need conjunctions because it helps my writing to flow. If I'm giving loads and loads of different facts in my newspaper article, which I should be doing because it's to inform people, and I'm not using conjunctions, it's just going to be very, very stop-starty and sound very much like a robot. So this helps us with our flow, or if you want the proper word, it helps us with cohesion. Okay. Subordinating conjunctions also help us again give different points of view, because you've got like though and unless and in order that, on the other hand, whereas this person thinks this. So it helps us again give other people's points of view. Another top 5 feature, see if you've got this one right, paragraphs changing with time. So we've looked at in our letter, remember we had paragraphs changing for time again, and in our set and description we had paragraphs changing for place, but in a newspaper we are doing time. Okay, remember there's 4 reasons why you change paragraph: for time, place, topic and person, but we're on this one at the moment just for time. So therefore, most likely paragraphs will start with time adverbials, and it will also be in chronological order. Remember that word, we've looked at it before, the order that the events actually happen. So why do we have that in a newspaper? Why do I want my article to be in chronological order and change with time? What do you think? So it helps the reader know what happened when. Okay, and again it helps with, oh, it's not letting me write. It also helps with the flow and makes it more cohesive again. Our final feature is Tier 3 topic specific vocabulary. Now you're going to be like, what on earth is that? Don't worry, it's just words that are specific to the subject of the article. Now I'll explain what that means even more. It's meaning, because this is all about space, it's any words to do with space. So if I go back to my Leicester City article or my gardening article, I wouldn't expect to find solar system or Neptune or NASA or spacecraft. Those type of words wouldn't be in my article. Okay, if I was writing one about gardening, I'd expect like bulb, weed, soil and things like that. They're not going to be Neptune about my garden. Okay, so it's just words specific to that topic. Why do I think I need to include those words? Why does a newspaper have to have topic-specific vocabulary? And the answer is, it just makes the article sound a lot more professional and convinces the reader that the person who wrote the article actually truly does know what they're on about. Because if I'm mentioning interstellar space in my gardening thing, the reader's going to be like, what on earth is this person on about? They're just making this up, because why would that be included in an article about my garden? Okay, I know there was quite a lot of information there, so if you feel like you need to go through it again at any point and just skip bits and listen to certain bits and jot things down, that is absolutely fine. I'm just going to explain what your task is. So, on your class notebook, you have got a different space newspaper article, and I've got a key. I can't quite show you all of it because of how I'm recording the screen, but you've got a key here, and you're going to pick your colours and simply put 5 different colours in your boxes and go through and colour code the features for me. Try and find as much as you can. It might be that you just circle some paragraphs or circle some words or underline things. It doesn't matter, just do what works best for you. Okay, and then scroll down and you've got some questions. These are just like the questions that we would do in class. So what's the audience, what's the purpose, and why do we need all those top 5 features? The answers are earlier on in the video, so if you need to watch it again, you can. Also, at the bottom, there is a challenge. If you feel up for it, have a go. Which feature do you think is most important to a newspaper and why? That needs to be, if you're going to do the challenge properly, more than just a sentence. You need to say why it's all so much more important than the other 4. Okay, so explain that in as much detail as you can. Maybe say why each of the other 4 individually are not as important. But if you need us, email us or message us. We look forward to seeing your work. Well done, keep going.